You're the CEO? My parents told everyone I failed. I sat quietly at my brother's engagement dinner. Then his fiancée looked at me and whispered, "Wait, you're Michael Carter?" The room stopped. Even my father couldn't speak. "Don't start this now, Michael. Not here." My mother's voice sliced through the low hum of dinner conversation and the quiet clink of silverware. Her hands trembled slightly as she reached for her wine glass. "Why not?" I asked, calm as ever. "Seems like the right crowd. Isn't this the audience you've been performing for all these years?" "Michael," my father said sharply, "don't embarrass yourself in front of the guests." "Embarrass myself?" I scoffed under my breath. "You did that already when you told everyone I dropped out and vanished because I couldn't handle life." The table went still. My brother Daniel cleared his throat awkwardly beside his fiancée, Lexi, who wore a $1,000 smile and eyes that missed nothing. "You did drop out," my father said coldly. "What would you have had us say? That you walked away from your future and never looked back?" "Maybe just told the truth," I replied. "Instead of building your fantasy around Daniel's LinkedIn profile and pretending I didn't exist." "Lexi, I'm so sorry," my mother said, offering a tight smile. "He always does this, ruins things." "No, I want to hear this," Lexi said, her gaze locked on me. "What happened with Michael?" My father opened his mouth, but I answered first. "That depends," I said. "Do you want the version they told the neighbors, or the version with receipts?" Lexi's brows furrowed. "Wait," she said slowly. "You're Michael Carter?" The air snapped tight. Even my father, who always had something to say, fell silent. "I'm Michael Carter. I'm 1926. And for most of my life, I've been the ghostin' of this family, seen when convenient, silent when spoken over, remembered only when blamed. I left home 4 years ago. No announcement, no goodbye. Why? Because some people learn to swim by being thrown into the deep end. I was thrown in, then blamed for drowning. Since then, I built something no one in this room knows about. I worked in the shadows, learned from every betrayal, every quiet dinner where my name was never spoken, but I never stopped watching. And now, with champagne toasts and fake smiles all around me, I sit at a table where I'm still the outsider. Except tonight. I'm no longer here to stay quiet. Let me paint the scene. Daniel, 28. My golden older brother. Ivy League grad, self-branded entrepreneur, perfect jawline, and perfect record. If my parents had a family crest, it'd be Daniel's graduation photo. Mom, Susan. Cold as the Chardonnay she drinks, loves appearances, spends more time curating Facebook posts than speaking to her children. She loves Daniel. She tolerates me. Dad, Richard. Retired military, retired warmth, always in control, always right, especially when he's not. Lexi, 25. Daniel's fiancée. Smarter than she lets on. Born into money, but sharp enough to know when someone's lying. They all think they know me. They all think I failed. But none of them asked what I built after I walked away. Sign here, Michael. "You know," I said, swirling my glass, "it's funny how no one ever asks why I left." "We knew," my father said. "You couldn't handle responsibility. You dropped out, ran away like a child." I set my glass down gently. My hands didn't shake. "Ha, you mean when you co-signed a private loan in my name, drained the trust Grandma left me to bail out Daniel's startup, and told me to suck it up when I found out?" The fork slipped from my mother's hand. "That wasn't—" "Don't lie." My voice was quiet, steel beneath silk. "I found the paperwork. You used my signature. I was 19. Legally, that's forgery. Daniel's face paled. Lexi turned toward him slowly. Is that true? She whispered. Daniel didn't answer. You were just a kid, Mom snapped. We needed to help Daniel. His firm was going under. What were we supposed to do? Maybe not rob your other son to do it, I said. It was a family decision. Dad barked. Funny how I wasn't part of it. Lexi looked between them, her posture stiff, her mouth set. So you took his money and then told people he failed? She asked. It was complicated, Daniel said quietly. No, I corrected. It was criminal. The room was shaking, but I wasn't. I'd prepared for this moment, and I wasn't done. 4 years ago, I got an offer. Join a startup in California. They couldn't pay me much, but they gave me equity and asked me to build something. I lived in my car the first month, ate protein bars, coded through nights. I built their infrastructure, hired their first engineers. Today, that company is worth $240 million. I left 6 months ago, quietly, with a buyout and a title no one in this room ever bothered to ask about. But that wasn't the sacrifice. The real sacrifice? I told the founders not to go after my family when they discovered the fraud. I paid the debt off myself, quietly, anonymously. So Daniel could keep his firm, so Mom could keep smiling, so Dad could keep his pride. And all I got in return was silence. Play the file. Lexi. I reached into my pocket and slid a USB across the table toward Lexi. If you want the truth, I said, Ma, play this. She hesitated. Go ahead. I smiled. It's your fiancé. The voice came through the Bluetooth speaker she always kept in her purse. He doesn't even know we used his trust fund. He's too busy chasing pipe dreams out west. Michael's a burnout. He'll never be anything. He's just a backup plan. Daniel's voice, word for word. My parents' silence was louder than any screaming could have been. Lexi turned to Daniel, her expression hollow. Is that how you talk about your brother? Daniel didn't speak. He just buried his face in his hands. Do you hear me now? You all finally hear me now? I said. Or do you need another file? No one moved. Mom looked like she'd been slapped. Dad looked old. Daniel looked broken. I spent 4 years proving to myself I was worth something, I said, standing. Because none of you ever would. Michael, please, Mom whispered. We didn't know. You didn't ask. I tucked the chair in slowly. That's what you'll remember. Not that I left, that you never asked why. The apology that almost was. I was halfway down the driveway when I heard footsteps. Lexi. Wait, she said. I didn't know about any of it. I believe you, I said. You're not like them. She handed me something, my old keychain, the one Daniel used to borrow. I think this was yours first, she said. Also, for what it's worth, you didn't just build a company, you built an exit. She looked over her shoulder at the glowing house. And I think some bridges need to burn before anything grows. I stopped watering it alone. And 2 weeks later, I got a letter in the mail. From my father. It didn't say, I'm sorry. Not directly, but it said, I was wrong about you. You're not weak. You're stronger than any of us ever were. Maybe I didn't want to see that because I was scared it was true. He signed it. Dad. Not Richard. Not Colonel Carter. Just Dad. I didn't reply. Not yet. But I folded the letter and kept it in my desk drawer because I don't need closure to heal. I don't need applause to breathe.